Hey guys, this is Alex703 Rockstar. I am back. Another review. Um, I took 2 weeks off, but I really was not taking 2 weeks off because I was driving around the country visiting colleges. Blah blah blah. Not interesting. Anyway, I was supposed to be reviewing Sequences by Gadget right now, but at the last second, just as I was about to review it, he sent me a PM and he was like, you need to review this new shit that I came out with instead of that. So then I backed it up, put it to the back of the list because obviously I haven't listened to it. And then so I decided to put JollyJay and H-To-O's album at the top, Scattered Colors on the Rubik's Cube, which is what I'm going to be reviewing now because it's, it's relevant. They asked me to do it, and I decided that if people are going to ask me to do reviews, I might as well put it in front of the other reviews that I'm just doing for fun, I guess. So, yeah, let's get into this review. So, JollyJay and H-To-O. Anglo-German hip-hop group. And I saw JollyJay first in a couple of Don't Flop battles, which I'll link one of them. I'll link his most recent battle versus Prince Kong down there, and then in the documentary, 39 Days, which is hosted on RedBull.com, which I'll also link down there. Also, I'll link his page. Blah blah. Let's actually get into this review. And this album, the first thing that struck me about it, actually there are two things. One is how this is like the most multicultural hip hop album I've ever seen. Languages rapped on here include English, German, French, and then the amount of different countries that you have artists from. You have England, the United States, Germany, France. So I guess I'm sort of repeating myself there, but it creates this really cool diversity on the album that most hip-hop albums don't have, because each country has their own different style, and bringing those different styles together creates a really nice meshing of sounds. And it seems like they're all about doing all this international stuff. On the 39 Days documentary, they made when in certain parts of their journey, they would sort of meet up with other artists and stuff, and it proves how they're really interested in not just being focused in England or in Germany, but all over Europe. And I think that's really good. The other thing that struck me is how laid back this album is. This album is ridiculously chill. They do have certain songs with deeper messages, such as Creative Prison, where they mention that a man on a cross is a symbol of hope, but then they're equally as comfortable saying, you don't get erections even though you still cock up, on songs like I don't remember what song that's on, but there's a lot of jokes in there that you would actually miss, because the delivery is so laid back. It almost sounds like spoken word poetry a lot of the time over a beat. And I think the laid back approach is good, except not to this extreme. It's almost too laid back, like to the point where on certain songs you could fall asleep. I wouldn't describe the album as boring necessarily, but on most songs it seems like they're not really doing anything to grab your attention, which is why I was very happy when I heard the song Bangalang with MC Amalgam from France, which is a really aggressive and high-speed track, and I wish there were a couple more like it. I'm not saying they have to sound aggressive. In fact, part of what I like about this group is that this follows absolutely no hip-hop stereotypes. They don't try to sound tough at all, or on the streets at all. They're being honest to who they are, but I would like a little more hunger sometimes in the vocals. And where songs like Tap That, which is a funny joke about tapping that snooze button on your alarm clock, are funny ideas, but I don't know if they necessarily work out as full-fleshed songs. Dick Check is another one, although the beat on that really saves that. And that brings me to my third major point, is the production on this album by Diggla, for the most part, is excellent. It's extremely memorable production. He uses a lot of minor keyboards and pianos, and bass lines that are sort of reminiscent of Gorillaz circa Demon Days. some really excellent stuff and some really ubiquitous stuff, I have to say. I This kind of production, you hear it and you know it's him. If I put my whole iPod on shuffle, just hearing one of these beats, I'd be like, oh, I know it's coming. It's not generic in any way. It's very, very cool. And I think it helps definitely give this album an identity. Now, JollyJay and H-To-O do not really sound like any other rappers in the world. They have their pretty distinct style, but the problem is they sound exactly like each other. Now, their voices are different, so you can distinguish them, but their cadence and their flow and their timing is incredibly similar on this album. And even when they bring guests on, they have a tendency to go next to each other in the song, and that doesn't really always work so well. Which is another thing that Bangalang gets right. It splits them up. That song is definitely one of the best tracks on there. But the guest appearances are very good, especially from, no, I guess it's notable from Themlot, MP3 Dome, who else is Amalgam, Loose Logic. Those are all really, really good guest appearances. But other than that, yeah, it's a solid album. Oh, and props to them for actually making an album and not making an EP, which a lot of artists seem to be doing now, making an album's worth of material and calling it an EP. Whatever, they went all out with a full album concept. It doesn't really feel like an album because you can sort of rearrange the tracks in any order and it still sounds alright. It still sounds just as good as in the actual order, which isn't really a good thing in terms of flow, but it doesn't have bad flow either. So that's what I could say about it. I give this a 7.5 out of 10. See you guys later.